What is going on, you guys, and welcome back to another how-to video here on the Sergeant Tank YouTube channel. If you haven't done so already, do me a favor right now, go ahead and smash that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications, and with that being said, let's go ahead and get to today's video. Alright, you guys, so what we're going to be taking a look at today is how to breed your Oryzias Woworae, which is a daisies rice fish, also known on the internet as your blue daisies rice fish. You can see in here we got some mystery snails. We have some ivory and gold Palmacia mystery snails. We got some ram's horn snails, spawning mops. We got some Nahas grass back there. Kind of condition these guys to go ahead and actually deposit the females the eggs right in the spawning mops. So what I'll do a couple times a week is I'll come through and I'll check the spawning mops, and I'll usually generally pull based on their reproduction at this stage is I'll go ahead and actually pull the spawning mops once a week, and that's what we're going to take a look at here in a moment. It's quite intriguing the way that the females will actually hold the eggs, and if we can focus in on one of the females, I'll show you. Generally, you can see the females are going to be larger than the males, more or less, is actually where they're clamping down and they're actually holding those eggs in there. And what you can do is if you see them holding the eggs, you can actually remove the females, put them in a separate container, and then they'll almost instantly drop the eggs. You can go ahead and then put the female back into the main tank. What I like to do to get a good successful yield and production rate is I'm going to go ahead and actually remove the spawning mop. I do need to take care of the Nahas grass because it is getting overgrown. If I took out all of that Nahas grass that's in there and put that in a separate container, I can almost guarantee there's probably going to be eggs within that. So let's take a look. They've been doing a phenomenal job the last few weeks here as far as depositing their eggs. So what I'm going to do is just carefully pull this entire spawning mop out. I got a container ready to go here, and you can just lightly just kind of wring it out so you're not getting water all over. Hold up that container and then just carefully transfer. So what we're going to do is we're going to head on over, take a look, and hopefully I can actually show you what the eggs look like. So that's what we're going to take a look at next. Alright, you guys, so once you pull that spawning mop out, all you're going to do is simply go ahead and replace it with another one, just like so. So if you take a look here, they look very similar to a killifish egg. Alright, you guys, so what I'm going to be doing here is going to be transferring, utilizing this 100-gallon stock tank, which I've discussed in previous videos. This is a community breeding stock tank on a continuous drip, half gallon per hour. So I'm a firm believer on consistency is key. I could have, yes, taken water from the other tank and put it in here, but the thing is that one's not on a continuous drip. This one is. That's why I like to use this for a lot of my grow outs and so forth, due to the fact it has the appropriate minerals that I'm looking for. It has the appropriate bio load and just overall good clean water. And what I like to do is just simply transfer, because I am matching temperature per temperature. All right, so not quite up to the top, so about right there. And then what I'm going to do from here is I like to always add a catappa leaf, and I like to use catappa leaves that have already broken down. So what I simply do is I'll obtain a catappa leaf from one of my other seasoned tanks, just take off a small portion, about yay big. Go ahead and add that for the appropriate tannins I'm looking for. And then I also like to add natural plants within that as well to kind of act as the appropriate filtration that I'm looking for. So, all right, you guys, so I'm just using some of that Nahas grass from their tank that I pulled that spawning mop from. And the last thing I'm going to do is from this 100-gallon stock tank for which I received that water. These are seasoned bio rings, so they have good seeded media. So I like to throw a couple in there, just acting as this is more or less a very small ecosystem is what it comes down to. Then what we're gonna do is head on back to where a lot of the business takes place. Every one of these guys are labeled, hence meaning they are in active use. So I do need to add a bottom row. I just haven't added any airline down there yet. So I do have a couple of open spaces. So what I'm going to do is actually just remove the lid from this one, which has active air going to it. Go ahead, put it on. You can see the amount of variation, just enough. It's not like an overkill. All right, you guys, so what I'm going to do is lastly, I like to just label everything utilizing painter's tape. Pick this up at a local dollar store, cheap stuff. So 1027 to 17, just DRF for Daisy's Rice Fish. Bada boom, bada bang. Put it on there like that. And what we're going to take a look at here now is some of the week and a half to week old fry. All right, you guys, so what we're going to be taking a look at now is this is one from October the 7th. And you can see one here that just recently hatched through its embryo. And I'm going to go ahead, just utilizing a turkey baster, just carefully get behind it. And then what I like to do is just simply transfer that into either a dip and pour. This is a clear dollar store measuring cup. So you can see here, you guys, I have an entire list pinned up on this board. That way it associates, instead of writing specifically what species are on the tanks themselves. I've done that before. I just prefer putting you know, labels of numbers on the tanks themselves on the corners, and then I associate that here with my master board, which then tells me I have some Daisy's Rice Fish in tank 8 as well as 6, and then I'll go ahead and date them. So let's go back over here. All right, you guys, so what we're gonna do here is these guys are a little bit older. Not that I'm concerned as far as introducing. I'm not concerned as far as cannibalism or anything like that. But what we're gonna actually do, these guys are a little bit younger here in tank 6. So I'm gonna simply just transfer like so, because I'm not worried about disease. Just make sure that I get them out. So there's 2 of them in there. And like I said, 2 or 3 times a day, this is what I do. This is what it takes if you want successful yields. All right, you guys, so some of the rearing and raising of those fry that we took a look at from the fry rack, again, redundancy and fluency is key within these fish rooms. So I have several different tanks for that same species for which we're breeding. So here in tank 6 and 8 is where I actually have some of those Daisy's Rice Fish growing out, and I start them off by utilizing vinegar eels. I transition over to live microworms, and then I transition them over to tetracolor granule crushed up into a powder form. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a closer look. We have one that's showing off for us right here in the front. If we can focus in. These guys are about 2 weeks old from hatching out of embryo state. So you can see a nice shot here of one of them. They have that really awesome eyes, especially when they go broadside. I'm really enjoying these guys. All right, you guys, so that's gonna wrap up that how-to tutorial on your Daisy's Rice Fish. I hope that you guys enjoyed and can actually take something away from it, give you a little bit of inspiration in order to start your own breeding project, whether if it's not with this specific species of fish, but maybe something else. So definitely stay tuned. Keep an eye out for the website, probably mid to late November, and we'll go ahead and start offering some of these other species that aren't currently on the website that I'm breeding within our fish rooms on the website for you guys. So definitely stay tuned and keep an eye out for that if you're interested. So now as far as overall TDS, again, if you guys have been following me long enough, you know my thought process, so forth, and basis behind the inconsistencies and sometimes the variables that do take place with total dissolved solids, as each individual's system and ecosystem and so forth is going to vary from one to the next. Even if the numbers match, it doesn't necessarily mean that the overall water column and the components, mineral content and so forth and distribution within that specific ecosystem is going to be same from one to the next. So definitely keep that in mind. But for you guys that are a TDS fan, TDS range for these guys is going to be anywhere comfortable from 180 to about 350 to 400. And then temperature is going to be right around 72, 73 degrees. Keep it consistent throughout. Hatchery time is going to be, once you actually pull those, once your deposit is about 2 weeks in that temperature range. I wouldn't be increasing the temperature. Keep it consistent. That's my recommendation if you want a good, successful yield and outcome and longevity of this specific species. And the other thing is, now spawning mops and so forth, and some of the things that you've seen within this video, you can definitely check out on our website, as we do carry a lot of this stuff over on the website. So that will be linked down in the description below. Now, as far as pH, you're going to be looking at in a range of 7.7 to 8.1, which is a comfortable range in order to breed, as well as successfully hatch and raise up the fry. So with that being said, you guys, make sure you guys make it a blessed rest of your day. As always, stay encouraged. Keep on keeping on. Happy fishing. We're going to talk to you guys right back here on the next one.